Mumbai to New Jersey. What a journey and what a background you have.
Education gave my father a way to come out of selling ice creams to Mumbai. And the same education then took me from Mumbai all the way to being a banker in New York.
I read for a fact you went to engineering at Sardar Patel Engineering College. How was that story like?
I had a phenomenal 4 years. At engineering college, not only on the academic side, but even personally, I think the personal development, that was the age when I developed the most. I became an extrovert from an introvert.
How was the journey at SP Jain?
It was, learned a lot. In fact, some of my friends are in the C-suites all across the country, which is amazing because you know that you learned with some of the best minds in the country.
The UnivAssist story and how did that happen?
Education is really powerful. And so for me, when I was taking the UnivAssist decision, the idea for us was to really help universities with their international engagement, do it in an ethical and a responsible manner, because this is about young lives, about helping them around the world.
The work you are doing with where I was at the beautiful Govardhan Eco Village and the collaboration that you are doing with them.
We are hoping to bring many university students from around the world, as well as many high school students from around the world, so that they can come and experience sustainability as a subject.
We are sitting in Masters Union. We are all about learn by doing. What is your experience?
Out here, you're teaching business, and for that to be right next in the to the industry, I think it's a great advantage for these students.
Hi, welcome back. This is Ankur Vora, Intersect by Masters Union podcast series. Today we have with us another distinguished guest, Mr. Swaraj Nandan, founder director at KIC UnivAssist, who is here from US. Swaraj, it's an honor to have you here with us. I know you personally for last many years, I think almost a decade. We have been meeting at multiple forums, IC3, KIC, and what an honor. And I still fondly remember our, the trip to Govardhan Eco Village and the ride back to the airport where you shared your inspiring story. And that idea came to my head that if ever I get a chance of you being in Delhi for a short visit, I'd love to grab a couple of hours from you to share that story, that inspiring story with our viewers at Intersect by Masters Union. So thank you so much. I'm so happy, Hare Krishna, that we had that manifestation come to life of us being together at this podcast.
No, thank you so much, Ankur, for having me. It's a pleasure to that. I think is the power of manifestation. We spoke about this probably 2 months ago, and here I am. So thank you for making it happen.
Amazing. And I'll put it this way, from Mumbai to New Jersey, what a journey, and what a background you have. I mean, starting from your engineering and then going to SP Jain and then onwards to, working at marquee corporate brands, and then going to set up KIC UnivAssist in US, and all the wonderful stuff we are going to cover today. But before we get into the professional stuff, I want to go a little deeper. We want to start with one of the inspiring personalities that you spoke about, your own father and your early childhood years that really moved me and inspired me for this conversation. So tell us a little bit more about your early life.
Sure. I had a blessed childhood, loving parents, and life was very simple, focused on making sure that your values are strong and you build a good character. That was it. That's what it was about. Respect your elders. Don't lie. Everything that a normal middle class family focuses on, and that there is really no alternative to hard work. So I think those values were really imbibed by my parents. And you're right. My father was my rock, and I was truly blessed to have him. We lost him 2 years ago. I'm still coming to terms with it, but yeah, he was my inspiration for where I am today.
So you grew up in Mumbai, if I'm not wrong?
That's correct. I was born and brought up in Mumbai.
And your father was
At that time, in Mumbai, my father was a senior scientific officer at Bhabha Atomic Research Center.
Yeah. And I think multifaceted personality himself, your father. Tell us a bit more about his. I mean, you spoke really, really some touching things about your father and the personality that he had. I would love for you to really share something more about.
Sure. So to really understand where I am today, I think we need to go back about 70, 80 years, right? Where my father was born in what is now Pakistan, and during partition, they came over. Like many other stories, they lost everything that they had. They were assigned a small house here in Aligarh. The family fell on bad times. They lost everything that they had. My father, it was really the academic side. It was the education that put things back in. There were times when my father sold ice creams in buses and put himself through school. But there were many educators who supported his journey. The principal of the school basically did not take any fees from him.
Yeah.
So he could go, but he kept topping the school. And at a tender age of 18, because of all that support that he got from the community, he was able to go to Bhabha Atomic. So literally left Aligarh, and the first place that he went was Mumbai.
Wow.
And joined Bhabha Atomic Research Center. And then for the next almost 30 years, he was working on the science side, but again, he loved Hindi, and the mix of science and Hindi was a dynamic combination. So he would write articles in Hindi. There's a magazine that comes out, Vaigyanik, and I think more than 200 of his articles have been published.
Wow.
In that magazine. He gave over 250 radio talks.
Wow.
So that he can inspire the younger generation about, and really he would speak about science in Hindi, because the Hindi belt, unfortunately, most things in science are written in English. And so the idea was, how do we inspire and bring the next generation into the mainstream? And so he worked very hard on that. And he also showed me that it's okay to take risks. So at age 50, when most people think that their career is done, he actually moved from BARC to become the head of languages at Hindustan Thompson Associate, which was the largest advertising agency at that time. So making that switch, he was not confident, because we had those internal discussions at home, but he went through with it. And for the next 10 years, he was in the advertising agency, managing a group of 17 language writers in Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam, Assamese. And many of the jingles that you see, and many of the lines that you see in these ads that came out at that time in the late 1990s were actually written by him. So it was phenomenal, and in the 2000s, he was even the jury on a film thing that happened, and the science films that were being showcased there were judged by him. So he continued to give back till his very last day, and I'm so fortunate that I had him as a father. I still remember the whole journey about being curious in life really was driven by him. I would go into his lab, and he would have liquid nitrogen, and he would put a banana in it.
Okay.
And in 30 seconds, it would come out as hard as a rock.
Okay.
And then he would throw it down on the floor, and it would break into pieces. And so a banana that 30 seconds ago was this really soft thing, you had just transformed it. And that curiosity that drove in, I still remain very curious about everything in life. And I think to have a parent like that, I'm truly blessed.
Truly blessed.
And that's not to take away from my mom. She has been an anchor, for the family. She was a homemaker at that time, but she also, for a small period, about 3 years, served at an orphanage. So again, that softer side to us as a family has come from my mom. She still is that loving parent, and thankfully I have her right now, and she's with me in the US. She keeps traveling across India and the US, and I still get my aloo parathas.
Good on you.
So that's a little about my family. I have a younger sister who lives here in Delhi.
Wonderful.
But yeah.
Wonderful. But your father, I mean, from selling ice creams to Bhabha Atomic Research Center, and then going on to write jingles, and amazing story and inspiring story. I can only imagine, and you shared some of it. I mean, the experience as a young boy you would have had under his guidance, and then definitely your mother. I mean, mothers are the pillars of the family. For me, I mean, it's always the mother and the father working together, and we say it always. I mean, there is always a woman behind a person's man's success, and we can say it vice versa in today's days. uh, but I read for a fact you went to engineering at Sardar Patel Engineering College,
Right.
91 to 94.
Right.
And so it's a very prestigious college. I mean, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru inaugurated it.
Right.
And so I believe you were academically very bright. That's why engineering. How was that story like? Why did engineering happen?
Right, and like many of us, right, engineering happened by default. Because my father was in BARC, we lived in the colony where everybody else was a scientist. So I had really smart, intelligent people around me who would really push you to be your best. So thankfully, I learned from them. And yes, I was fortunately good at academics. Many people don't know about this, but I took the JEE and I had a rank.
Okay.
At that time, there used to be only about 2,000 seats.
Okay.
So I had a rank, and what I would get with that rank, I would have gotten integrated chemistry in Mumbai, or
Which is the IIT Mumbai.
IIT
campus.
Mumbai, and but since my father was a chemist, his elder brother was a chemist, whose two daughters were chemists. He was like, there are too many chemists in the family, so maybe you should go do something else. So I did apply, and I got ceramic engineering at BHU, and then but simultaneously I had scored really well in the Mumbai HSC examinations, and because of which I knew I was get a seat at VJTI and SPC. So they said, why are you going all this way away? Just stay with us, have your mom's parathas, and still study at a premier institution. So that was how things evolved. But as I was driving this morning, I was thinking how life happens. I wanted to become an electrical engineer.
Okay.
But essentially, when you for the Maharashtra board, once you had your rank, you were called at a certain time. You would go, you would stand in a line. Your number would come, and they would say in the register, they look and say, this is available. These are the choices that are available, and you had to make your decision right then and there.
Spot.
On the spot. So we went in thinking that, okay, this is what we're going to do. So I was going to do VJTI electrical. And during that line, we stood with my friend's father, who was a mechanical engineer, who convinced my father in that 1 hour that mechanical engineering was the thing to be. And so I come back home, and my mom says, so VJTI electrical? And I say, no, SPC mechanical. But that is how, life happens. So engineering, to be really truthful, I think it happened by default. We had really not, we didn't have counselors at that time. So whatever your core group of friends was leaning towards, you sort of leaned there. So, but I had a phenomenal 4 years, at engineering college. Not only on the academic side, but even personally. I think the personal development, that was the age when I developed the most. I became an extrovert from an introvert. I also played a significant role in college politics, not even at the college level, but at the university level.
Wow.
Many people don't know about that phase of my life, but that really led to me coming out of my shell. And it goes back to what my father said, like you really need to take some risks to drive growth and to drive success. But those were phenomenal years, and I'm still in touch with my entire engineering batch.
Wow.
And I, thankfully, because of my travel, I get to see a lot of them in different countries where they are very well settled. Engineering was the case, and then I went on to do my, and then I worked for actually a little bit. in Bharat Petroleum as a maintenance engineer.
Okay.
And in 1 year, so you can imagine me in a boiler suit going and overhauling pumps. That's so it was still the blue color, but not a suit. It's a boiler suit. And at the end of the day, we would come out and there would be a tap of gasoline. So petrol.
Yeah.
We would just wash our hands and our face, there'd be grease all over. But that's what you can imagine. But
and how long you were there?
I was there for a year and a half. But then I applied for SP Jain and then got through to SP Jain. So
this is the Mumbai campus.
Yeah, this is the Mumbai campus. So essentially, but that.
So before we dive into the SP Jain story, the engineering bit here. So this was like a campus placement in Bharat Petroleum?
This was campus placement, Bharat Petroleum.
And you did, and this was more of a, as you mentioned, a mechanical role?
That's correct.
You were a mechanical engineer.
Mechanical role. So the way the thing worked in Bharat Petroleum, you were a management trainee for a year. And the idea was that during the year, you went through different parts of the refinery.
Okay. And this was in which location?
In Mumbai.
Mumbai.
And you would learn about it, and
more aloo ke parathe.
You would get your hands dirty. No, I was staying at the BPCL Chamni. And this is a factory location, right? We had amazing spread of breakfast, amazing spread of lunch, but in 1 year I put on 8 kgs.
Oh, okay. So another aspect of your personality.
So I really I was a really skinny boy before that, and in 1 year I really ramped up.
But then you were also preparing for MBA.
I was preparing for the MBA. So
पहले से plan था, you wanted to be an MBA.
Yes, I did want to move on to the management side. So in fact, that 1 year was phenomenal. Because I was able to. There was a group of workers that were allocated to me, and I had to take ownership of an entire part of the refinery, which I was able to do. Not many people were given that charge. I was given that charge after a year, which showed the trust that I was able to build with the workers that were assigned to me, which is typically, regardless of what you do, I think that is what you need to work on as a manager.
Yeah.
And so I was able to create that in a very short period of time. But I wanted to go and get formal management education. So applied to a bunch of places, and SP Jain was the way it was. And although I had a manufacturing background, I realized that I was more interested in marketing. So I moved over to the marketing side. And then the next 2 years went to SP Jain.
SP Jain. And how was the journey at SP Jain?
It was beautiful, and learned a lot. In fact, some of my friends are in the C-suites all across the country, which is amazing because that you learned with some of the best minds in the country. So I did SP Jain, and then I was very focused about what I wanted to do. So I wanted to do brand management. And I joined Lintas, the advertising agency. So it was a very phenomenal time when I don't know if you have heard about the brand Clean and Clear. Johnson & Johnson. So at Lintas, I was assigned to the Johnson & Johnson account. So we launched the brand Clean and Clear in India, and helped out with
Band-Aid. So this
Band-Aid.
is again in Mumbai?
This was all in Mumbai.
Okay, perfect.
And had a great time supporting Johnson & Johnson. And after working for a year, I had developed such a strong relationship with the client, which was Johnson & Johnson, that they said, we want this guy. Come over. We want you to be a part of our team for a year. Okay. So it's called secondment.
Okay.
So then on secondment, I went and I actually was a part of the feminine care franchise.
Okay.
So I managed Carefree and OB tampons as a brand, for a year with Johnson & Johnson. Again, amazing people that I worked with. I learned a lot from them, and many of those things that I learned from them I still apply today.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, but.
So this is amazing. I mean, and then when this was all happening in Mumbai, you went for a secondment with Johnson & Johnson, and you're doing all this. And then how did this bug of PhD come along?
It's very very interesting. When I went to the industry, I was able to get a much deeper sight of what was happening in the advertising industry, and I realized that what I was being taught at SP Jain, so much of it was not relevant. And so I worked with the current professor at SP Jain at that time to say, hey, can I help you revamp this? And I will bring in industry people. And what we decided was that we'll keep half the course academic, and half the course we will assign to bringing guest faculty over, real from the industry, and they will. So there used to be 2 sessions a week. So one session will be purely academic. The second session will be guest faculty, and we completely revamped that program. And but at the end of the year, when the entire courses were rated, they had a course rating mechanism. That course was rated one of the top 2 during that year. And that was an aha moment. Oh my God, if I can help revamp this and really bring learning in the classroom that's relevant for the industry, that's what I should focus on. And I'm really having a great time as a teacher, so I should become a teacher. It's because finally, at the end of the day, it's about your legacy. It's about what you're leaving back. So with that objective of becoming a teacher, I applied to PhD programs in the US.
And which year was this?
This was I finally went in 99. So this is the 98, 99 time frame.
But this is music to our ears. I mean, we are discussing, this is what we are all about at Masters Union.
Correct.
I mean, our concepts of co-teach and bringing in industry, and we sitting here in Gurgaon in a corporate park. All this was being articulated by you in your own work in 90s, 96 and 97, I'm assuming, 96, 97, 98 and 99. And then you thought that you want to become a full-blown academic and go to US and start a PhD. So tell us a little bit more about
So those were my 2 objectives, to teach and to do consulting that was relevant for the industry based on the academic pieces that are coming in. And so I went for my PhD to University of Maryland. College Park, but very quickly in the next 6 months, we realized that the senior advisors that I had on the academic side, they thought that a PhD was supposed to be purely academic, and purely academic research. Not necessarily it had to be anything to do with the industry, and somehow those line of thoughts didn't match as much. So I'm actually a dropout out of the PhD program, and then I went on to get a second master's because I already had the one of the masters from SP Jain. So I did another one in marketing analysis. So I was doing data before data analysis became cool and right. So it was phenomenal. So I graduated in 2000 from there, and then I joined Citigroup. In their management associate program, which was their leadership program.
No, I think just to reflect on this part of your life, I mean, I'm doing my PhD right now, and I think things have changed for the better now with NEP 2020 and more talk about relevance of research. But I can imagine even, I think this was 25 years back. I mean,
yes.
So 25 years back, maybe the idea of research was, still in most of our institutions, it's very academic oriented. And with us, like Masters Union, we're trying to, I think your aha moment was the feedback that you got on the course. I think some of those aha moments are now happening here daily at Masters Union and the classes and courses that we are teaching. But my own, coming from industry background, going to now, do my PhD, early semesters were tough on me too, because it was more academic than industry. And I was always asking these questions, like, what is the relevance? Why are we doing this? And why are we studying this? How can I apply this in the industry? And I can imagine 25 years back, you having the same questions and probably for the best, dropping out of that academically rigorous PhD program and doing a double master's. And then, one of the milestone events that I could read about in your profile was Citigroup and your work there. Almost 9 years you spent with them. And please talk us about that
Yeah,
part of
so it
your
was
life?
phenomenal. I got hired out of the campus and went there in their leadership program, and I had two choices to either do marketing or do risk management. And there used to be two rotations. Most times we had seen that people coming from the marketing background would choose two rotations in marketing. And the risk management people who were more analytical, they had the finance bent, they would to choose two things in risk management. I did marketing as my first rotation, but then for my second rotation, it again comes back to the risk management or the taking risk aspect. I told them, listen, I don't know much about that, but I know that if I have to excel in the finance field, I need to understand what risk management really involves. So would you give me a chance? And they were kind enough to actually allow me to take a rotation in risk management.
Okay.
And that just changed the trajectory of my learning of my life. I really enjoyed that side of the business. Got to understand it in about 9 months, and then I chose to stay back on the risk management because after your rotations were done, you had to make a decision of whether you wanted to take up a marketing role or you wanted to take up a risk management role. And I actually chose to stay back on the risk management side.
Okay.
And it was so interesting that the growth that I saw on the risk management side for myself was much steeper than if I had gone onto the marketing side. And the reason is they had a lot of people on the marketing side who understood marketing. They had a lot of people on the risk management side who understood risk, but they didn't have as many people who were on the risk management side who understood marketing and vice versa. And so a lot of times what I was able to do was I would sit on the risk management side, and then when the marketing people were talking to the risk people, I was able to translate that. It's
Wow.
almost like if you think many times you have a business requirements person and you have technology people and you have business people, and there are people in the middle who come as business requirements and they translate each other's things so people can come to a decision. I really found myself in that role. So I understood the P&Ls, but I also understood the marketing side. And I understood the need for an investment. So I grew very quickly. And, I honestly was one of those few people who understood both sides. So I was then tapped to do international strategy. So what I would do was I would pick out an entire team from both sides of the business, and we would go into other countries because the US business was much further along than many other credit card businesses. So we would go to countries and we would do internal strategy. So rather than bringing a McKinsey or an outside person, they would bring internal consultants, and I would be leading that team. So it was phenomenal. We went to Hong Kong, we revamped that business. We went to Thailand, we revamped that business. We went to Mexico, we helped them out. We went to Puerto Rico, we helped them out. So it was a really amazing time in my life when now the international piece came in, where understanding something and applying it in different contexts was again a great learning for me. And my international journey started then.
May I say, this is totally what we are also about, interdisciplinary learning. My own career, and this is again, you're way ahead of times. Even your father, I forgot to say that. He was an interdisciplinary guy, and then you are following in his footsteps. And I think that adds to so much more to a person's capabilities, as you said. Somebody who only understands marketing and somebody who only understands risk were not able to talk to each other when they needed a guy like Swaraj who knew how to collaborate between the two divisions. And then this is phenomenal. Traveling the world, from Hong Kong to Puerto Rico to all over, doing risk management. Again, it speaks highly about your own vision. As your father told you, that, it requires certain level of risk to grow in life. I think you followed that to the T.
Yes.
And this was happening in US. Which city in US you were in?
So I was in New York. By
Yeah.
by that time, I was working in New York and living in New Jersey.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And then why don't we speak about how you met your wife? And so this was also a fascinating part of your
So,
story that I.
yeah, it's all data. So it's a traditional Indian arranged marriage.
Yeah.
If I start talking about it, I don't know if we have enough time on the podcast.
We have 5 minutes.
No. But pretty much the way I look at it is the Indian arranged marriage thing is a very efficient process. Right? If you were looking for a job, if somebody was looking to hire someone, what do? You advertise it in the papers or in some media. And then you get a bunch of resumes, you evaluate the resumes, you figure out a few people that you want to talk to, you talk to them, you finalize 2 or 3 people, and then you make a final decision. I think the arranged marriage process is very, very similar. And so that's how it happened. My parents took up some portion in the matrimonial section because by then I was graduating out of Maryland, and I told them, listen, I really don't have a steady relationship, so we should go and test this out. So they put ads in the newspapers, National Edition, Times of India had this thing.
Yeah.
And I remember it right now, we received like 180 resumes, if I may call them, or biodata as they call them, with pictures. It's fascinating that we do that. And then my parents and sister helped take that down to 30. And then at that time, we got on Skype.
Okay.
Because I was in the US, they were here. We evaluated all of that and brought it down to 12 people that I was supposed to meet. My wife Shikha was the only one in the US. So they said, oh, why don't you speak with her first, and then you're going to come to India to meet the others. And so that's what happened. She was in Kansas at that time pursuing her own MBA. And we both flew to Chicago, met at the airport, spent a day together at my cousin's place, just talking to each other about who we are, what are we doing, what our career aspirations are. And then at the end of the day, I dropped her at the airport, and that was it.
Okay.
So I came back 2 days later to India, and my parents had lined up the other 11, for me to meet the other 11 girls, and I told them, I'm done.
Okay,
and,
the first one.
And this is it. So, and they were like, oh, what are we going to tell them? And what are we going to tell Shikha's parents? And I said, let me handle this. And that's my data side. I created a spreadsheet, sent it to my future father-in-law, and then convinced him
the spreadsheet contained what?
the spreadsheet contained that, okay, you know what? This year I'm going to move from Maryland to Citigroup in New York. This is what will happen.
Wow.
This is, she will move from Kansas. So I had to put together a project plan, literally. And my father-in-law, who was, on the business side at a very senior side, I guess that must have convinced him, or that must have impressed him. Regardless, in 15 days, and Shikha was in Kansas, her parents came to do what's the roka. And then we got on the phone to tell her that she was engaged.
Okay.
But next year we will celebrate 25 years together.
Oh, God
we have
bless
two
you.
beautiful children, and who are doing amazingly well, and they are the love of my life. So it's been an amazing journey. But that's what really happened.
Yeah.
And it's been about.
I believe your wife is doing also really well professionally.
Correct. She's a banker. She's with Bank of America.
Wonderful.
And doing.
And now you're
really,
based
really
in
well.
New Jersey.
I am based in. So I've been in New Jersey for the last 25 years.
25 years. Perfect. God bless you. So amazing. I mean, this is so happy to hear. I mean, all the good wishes to you. 25 years of bliss. I mean, may Krishna continue to bless you and the family.
Thank you.
And I think this also ties into now what we are entering. I mean, your interest in education, and you actually wanted to do a PhD. So that means you were really interested in education. You still are, and the impact that you have had with UnivAssist is amazing. And I think that's where I would want to now enter in the final segment of our conversation.
Sure.
The UnivAssist story, and how did that happen?
Yeah. So if although I was in, if you can see, many people say, if they look at my resume, they'll say, how messed up is this? You have some production, manufacturing, and working in a refinery, then you're in advertising, you're in brand management, then you go on to be on the finance side. Even there, you do marketing and you do risk management. It just looks like this person really doesn't know what they're doing. But I think that has been the beauty of it, because today, if you put me in a conversation or in a business challenge, I'm able to look at that problem from very different perspectives, and really come to the table with decent solutions that might be implementable. And I think that has been so the practical nature of being able to view the same problem from different perspectives comes from there. Now, while I was doing all of this, education was still going on the side. So, for example, as early as my 11th grade, I was teaching students who were in the 10th grade. I was teaching them math, which continued for a while. Even while I was at Citigroup, I was supporting a nonprofit called Lend a Hand India, which I'm still associated with. And they are doing vocational training in rural schools, in tens of thousands of schools around the country. They work with 26 state governments right now in India. So the side of supporting things through education has been continuously happening for the last 30 years. In addition, on the personal note, if you can see, the fact that education gave my father a way to come out of selling ice creams to Mumbai, and the same education then, and all he gave us was really good education. And that took me from Mumbai all the way to being a banker in New York. In just one generation, education was able to completely transform not only our family, but in addition, the entire eco structure around us, our neighbors, our relatives, etc. Education is really powerful. And so for me, when I was taking the UnivAssist decision, that was core to why I moved away from being a banker to the education side. And also I have to really talk about Ganesh, my co-founder, because for 10 years he would keep coming to the US, and I was a banker, and he would say, how long in life are you going to go on charging people late fees and making a living out of it? Do something good in life. So long story short, in 2010, we had just come out of the financial crisis on the US side, out of the 2008 financial crisis. I was leading the personal loans business, which is a $2 billion business for Citigroup. And we did a lot of good things to really help clients at that time. But by 2010, everything was set. Over the next 5 years, the business would be very stable. I had set them on a good path. And the idea was, what next? And so the timing just seemed right. I also, on a personal side, I come from a family that has always worked for someone, a service family. And my thing was, I don't want to be 60 and sit and think that I never tried to do something on my own. And so it just seemed like the perfect opportunity. I was open to saying, okay, you know what, we'll try it. If it doesn't work, I'm sure I'll go back to Citigroup and someone will hire me.
Yeah, absolutely.
So again, took that risk. And Ganesh and I co-founded KIC UnivAssist. The idea for us was to really help universities with their international engagement, do it in an ethical and a responsible manner, because this is about young lives, about helping them around the world. In 2010, when we put it together, the idea was we were really working with North American institutions, universities, and helping them in India. But very quickly, in a year after universities traveled with us and they were able to see how we work, they were asking us, hey, you know what, can you help us in Brazil? So 2013, I took a flight to Brazil and went and I spent some time in high schools and put the infrastructure together. And then we launched a Latin America thing. Very quickly after that came Middle East and Southeast Asia. So long story short, now we are physically doing events in about 25 countries around the year.
Okay.
And during the pandemic, when the physical moved to the virtual, in the virtual space, we were able to touch students in about 70 countries through our events. And for us, for me personally, it's phenomenal, because if we are truly able to even make a small difference in the lives of these young people and help them to make good choices in life from a career standpoint, we would have really made the world a better place. So
No, absolutely.
that's the vision with which we operate.
I know, absolutely. And what a beautiful organization you have built along with Ganesh. I mean, kudos to both of you, and amazing work. And I know I was going through your website yesterday. I think so many universities logos I could see as your clients, and I'm like, wow, they work with who's of, top universities, and a lot of them from North America, where you are based.
That's correct.
And then to continue working over so many years and to build that trust for them to come back to you and say, let's open Brazil, and then let's open Middle East, and let's open. I mean, that trust has to be earned every day that you're, because I have been working in education sector. I know how hard it is. And then to have those conversations around, not treating students as commodities. I mean, that's very important what you just mentioned. And because these are lives that we are dealing with, and that bringing that consciousness to the business aspect of the universities that we sometimes get entangled in, and it becomes very difficult. But to keep going back to that student-centric approach to our outreach, I think that's the one of the mantras of, I think, your success at KIC UnivAssist. I mean, and it's not only an organization that does university outreach. I mean, KIC UnivAssist for me also, I mentioned in 2017, the t-shirt that I still have, International AC. What a t-shirt. I mean, I still use it. Got it in 2017 in Cleveland. And I showed you on the call also that the quality of that work and the emphasis on that top quality thing in everything that you touch is very apparent in that t-shirt. And that t-shirt speaks a lot about that company. So kudos to you, and for building. I think it's a big organization now. How many employees, if you can just talk about
We have about 70 people, across different countries as staff members.
And you travel the world. I think you are always on the move.
I have stepped back a little. In fact, I think 2022 was that year when, after the pandemic, the world almost got into revenge travel, right? Like they wanted to go everywhere. That year, just on United Airlines, I took 54 international flights.
Oh, wow.
And that doesn't count any flights that I took within India and within Southeast Asia and within
only
Latin
international
America.
Flights.
Just international, 54 international flights at that year. Now, my travel thankfully has gone. We have an amazing team. And they have taken much of that travel away from me so that they lead those tours, and I'm able to step in and work on some other initiatives that can bring around a lot of impact to the field.
And you mentioned a bit about Lend a Hand India.
That's correct.
And you were discussing, you were here in Delhi yesterday also attending one of the conferences being hosted by them. Why don't we speak a little bit about what you're doing with them?
Sure. So essentially, they're doing phenomenal work in vocational training, and they've been doing that for almost 25 years now. I was fortunate to be one of the directors when the thing started in the US, and now they're working with the who's who. As I mentioned, they work with almost all state governments. And many of the CSR entities, including the Tatas and Bajaj, they work with. They were doing phenomenal work, and now as the NEP 2020 really spoke about vocational training becoming the core piece at schools, which also aligns very well with the Masters Union thing. You learn academically, but then you learn by doing. We feel that yesterday at that session, it was very interesting what somebody spoke about, which is that traditionally working with your hand has been considered sort of a downgraded version of that. And not to, I hope nobody takes it the other way, but they in the session spoke about the fact that in India growing up, it was male and female. The female used to be the one in the kitchen working with their hands.
Yeah.
And it was viewed, slightly lower than going outside and working, right? And then in addition to that, we touched upon the castes. I think India's done phenomenal work in, moving out of that and being very progressive. But the lower castes were expected to do work with their hands. So somehow vocational training or working with your hands was looked down upon, and we are so happy that that's changing.
That's changing, yeah.
And I think experiential learning by doing, absolutely has to be core and central to everything that we're trying to do.
And that is music to our ears here at Masters Union, learning by doing. But I quickly want to also touch upon the work you are doing with where I was at the beautiful Govardhan Eco Village,
Ji.
and the collaboration that you are doing with them. Why don't we speak about that?
Sure. So, on the UnivAssist side, we basically focus and help ethical student recruitment for universities. We're working with over 450 universities globally from 17 different countries. But then one of the other key pieces in where we can help universities and the high schools we serve is really for students to have experiences outside of the classroom. And this is where it comes in. So Govardhan Eco Village, for those of you who don't know, essentially is this UNICEF. It's an entity that has been awarded by United Nations, and they focus on sustainability, on sustainable living. So it's an entire eco village that has been created.
Just 2 hours from Mumbai.
And just 2 hours from Mumbai. And they support 400 villages around them. And whether it is, rainwater harvesting to wastewater recycling to plastic recycling to organic farming, it's just sustainability is just a way of life. So we thought that it would be a phenomenal experience for students to be there for a week or 2 weeks, depending on what they're looking for, and understand the sustainable living and integrate it into their classroom learning. So that's what we are working on. We are hoping to bring many university students from around the world, as well as many high school students from around the world, so that they can come and experience sustainability as a subject, as a program, and as a topic.
Wonderful, amazing. More power to you. And as I was there, thank you so much for inviting me. I had a fantastic time. And I hope we can collaborate too with
Absolutely.
Masters Union and Govardhan Eco Village. And one more thing that I want to ask you is about your own experience. You are a global Indian, right? I mean, you left India in 1999, I think.
That's correct.
And I've now settled in US and traveled the world. And over these last so many years, 25 plus years, you would have seen in different versions of India. We have also grown, and we speak about it. We have a vision of Viksit Bharat. How does India look like from an NRI's eyes? Over the last, this is amazing experience. We were mentioning when we entered the lift, I said, this is US standard. And then you said, oh, this is better than US because now India is now building new things.
That's correct.
So why don't we share something about your experience as an Indian living abroad now?
It's amazing, right? Like sometimes to joke about it, I feel like, when you go to the airport and you have multiple lines, and the line that you stand in moves the slowest.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's somehow the feeling, and it's a phenomenal feeling that you left India, and now India, touch wood, is growing by leaps and bounds, and this is where all the action is, and the world is coming to India rather than the other way around. Yeah. So I'm very fortunate because of work. I travel to India almost 4 times a year. And every time I come, I see something new, and I couldn't be prouder, right? As a global Indian, to see all the phenomenal progress that's happening. In fact, I'm working on a few initiatives which hopefully will just help this grow faster.
Wow.
For the last 3 years, we've been working on a project with CBSE board, which is the national board, which has over 30,000 schools. For CBSE to get the same level of, I would say, recognition as a rigorous board that some of the international boards have from US universities.
Absolutely.
I'm very happy to share that many of the universities have recognized that and are providing credits to CBSE students for coursework that they have already done, so that they don't need to study it again when they go to these universities and spend thousands of dollars. So lots of work in that direction. Again, the idea is to keep impacting our youth in a positive manner and just deepen that. So in multiple ways.
Oh, amazing! So happy to hear it. I mean, right from the horse's mouth. I mean, you have lived and traveled the world, and then kept on coming to India. I mean, and see the growth happening right in front of your eyes. Finally, I mean, we are sitting at Masters Union. We are all about learn by doing, and we just had a quick campus tour for you. What is your experience?
I think it's phenomenal. I mentioned that the whole learning by doing concept and being in the heart of action, I think will just create a different trajectory for these students. And it's very nice that you're able to do this in the heart of Gurgaon. It's right next to the office of Google, right next to many of the leading corporates. And not only can they receive, because from a guest faculty standpoint, I'm sure you're able to invite, phenomenal people who are right, working right next door, and they are able to do that for you. And on the reverse side, these places will also provide opportunities for internships and learning experiences for your students. So I think it's a great business model. Traditionally we used to see the horizontal campuses, and now we are seeing that in India, many of the campuses that are coming up are vertical campuses, and nothing wrong with that. However things are, and they work well, and different students learn differently. Different programs have different requirements, and as long as we can recognize that, I think out here you're teaching business, and for that to be right next in the to the industry, I think it's a great advantage for these students who are here.
Absolutely, and that's why I keep repeating this. We are here by choice in a vertical campus because of what you believed in as when you went for your PhD, that it has to be, and your course in SP Jain, it has to bring industry and academia together. If the student has to succeed, I think we are just manifesting what you were envisioning in those years when you were teaching at SP Jain, and then you went for your PhD. And we now, this is our vertical campus, and then we have a horizontal campus upcoming in Manesar. I mean, we are on our way to launch as a full-fledged university in time by next year, and launch some new exciting programs. Thank you so much, for sharing your feedback. It is really, really important for us, because coming from you, who has visited hundreds of universities and traveled the world, and then you appreciating what we are trying to do right in the heart of Gurgaon and corporate India is very encouraging for us. Thank you, Swaraj. What an honor. What a treat.
My congratulations to Pratham and the entire team here. Phenomenal vision, and I can see the implementation. Keep doing the great work, and whatever we can do to help, we are here by your sidelines as your supporters.
Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.